Hello there, and greetings. Welcome to the channel. I am Bragi, and today it is another day for telling a folk tale, and we all love a folk tale on this channel. Now today's folk tale story has the theme of the Merfolk, or a Merman, and is from that country of Iceland, the land of ice and fire, and those exceptional, very brave Viking lads. I've met a few of them, and they're very strong, or Icelandic warriors. Now, many years ago, not long after Iceland was discovered in 874, there was a farmer. His name was Thorgrim. He was very well known, and he lived in the north of Iceland in a place called Volgar. And Thorgrim, well, he was a tall man and very strong, and all the people nearby that lived near him looked up to him. He was an exceptional farmer, and let's face it, farming is very important, for you need food. But he was also known for being a fisherman. In fact, he was often said to be one of the best fishermen in the whole of Iceland. But as we say on this channel, that is another story. Now, many years ago, our farmer, his name is Thorgrim, as I may have said, he was out in the fields, removing some stones to make the fields better with one of his farm hands. It was a windy morning, but by the time the sun came to midday, the wind had died down and the seas were calm. And our man of the story, Thorgrim, well, he wanted to go fishing, and so he said to his farm hand, said, "Olaf, you must go and ready the boat with 3 other men, and we will go fishing." And so Olaf went off. He fetched 3 other men who worked for Thorgrim, and they got the boat ready, and they put some lines in, because they used to fish with lines and not nets. And then they all started rowing on the boat. Thorgrim joined, of course. He was at the back giving orders. He was the boss. And they was rowing and rowing and rowing and rowing. And as Thorgrim rowed with the other men, it kind of reminded me of the story of Thor and how he caught Jörmungandr. But that is another story. And so the men continued to row, until after a few leagues of rowing they came to a place where Thorgrim had fished many a times, and he knew was a good fishing ground. And so the men, they got some heavy rocks on the bottom of the rope, and they threw them in, and the rope uncoiled itself and went into the sea with hooks. And for some time they rowed, dragging the line behind them. In fact, they had 2 lines. They wanted to catch quite a bit of fish. Fish was very important. And after some time, well, they couldn't move the boat. They had caught something very, very heavy. And so Thorgrim ordered the 3 men, plus Olaf, his other farmhand, to start pulling up the rope. And so, by hand and by hand, they pulled and they heaved. Heave away and haul away. Heave away, hauling up this very, very heavy rope. In fact, it was that heavy they realised that they must have a most ginormous fish at the end of the line. And still they kept on pulling and pulling and pulling, until eventually Thorgrim looked over the boat and he could see that the men had not caught a fish. But what do you think they have caught, folks? Yes, indeed, they have indeed caught a merman, one of a merfolk, said to have half a tail of a fish and half a body of a man. And well, this merman, he was a mighty fellow with a big ginger beard. And he was not very happy. He said, "How dare you pull me up from the bottom of the sea? I was repairing my grandmother's chimney." Oh yes, folks, it is often said in the folklore of the Merfolk that they have underground villages and have the ability to have underwater flame. How is beyond me, but is said to be magical. And so, the mailman, the butch fellow with the ginger beard, he was not very happy. And the three men and Olaf pulled him into the boat. And Thorgrim, being very clever, he realised and knew that he had a large leather sack in the boat, and therefore he put the merman in the sack, and he tied him up to his neck so he could not escape. And he said to the merman, Thorgrim pointed his finger and said, "You are now my property. I own you. You are a nithling, a nothing, a slave for me now." And so the men, after not catching any fish, they rowed back on the boat, back to shore, where in the distance Thorgrim could see his longhouse. Well, as you could imagine, the merman was not happy, for he knew that he was going to be a slave. And the four men who worked for Thorgrim, they pulled the boat up to the jetty, for Thorgrim had a small outbuilding where he kept his fish and nets. And the four men pulled out the sack with the merman in. And they pulled him out the sack. But something very strange happened, because as soon as the merman was on land, his tail disappeared. And where he had a tail, he had legs. And the merman was able to walk. And so, having both his hands tied together and being pulled by Thorgrim, the merman started to be pulled up to the longhouse. But as soon as the man Thorgrim landed on the jetty, his favourite dog came up to him, wanting some love and attention. But Thorgrim was in a bad temper and tried to kick him, but missed the dog, and the dog went away yelping. And a little bit more time passed. The merman was very reluctant to go and to move, and so the man, Thorgrim, put him back in the sack. It was way more easier to carry a man in the sack rather than to put him with his legs open to the elements. And he was walking up an old path between his outbuilding and his longhouse, and Thorgrim was pulling the sack. His other men had work to do, so he was pulling back the sack with the merman, and halfway there was a mound, a strange hump in the path, and Thorgrim forgot about this, and as he was pulling the sack he tripped over it, and which the merman laughed. "Ha ha 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 ha! Look at you, falling over! Ha 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 ha!" And the merman kept on laughing, and Thorgrim, well, he looked up to him, and he pulled a face. Thorgrim was not very happy. And so he continued to pull the merman in the sack up to his longhouse. And just as he got there, his wife came out, all joyous and happy. "Hello there, dear! Are you back from fishing? Oh, my lord, what is that in this sack?" And, well, Thorgrim, he said, "Well, that there, my dear, is a merman." And although his wife was very affectionate to him, "Oh, it's nice to see you, dear. I want to give you a nice big hug. I do love you." Thorgrim shunned her, because he had heard rumours from the people, the folk, that his wife had been seeing other men. Something in those times was very bad. And so, yet again, the merman laughed. "Ha ha ha! Look at you, shunning your wife's affection. Ha And then Thorgrim, well, he got the sack and he pulled the merman in the sack into the longhouse. And he let him go. And he tied him to a beam so he couldn't escape. Some time past that evening, he had his meal, some nice meat, a bit of lamb, and some parsnips, and a bit of mead. And he was going to go to bed, but he couldn't sleep, because all the while he kept on thinking about the merman. How the first time when he saw the dog, and the dog was not happy, although he did not hear the laugh of the merman the first time, he did laugh in silence. And then for the second time the man thought Thorgrim about when he fell over that hump, and how the merman laughed again, but this time he laughed aloud. Ha ha ha, look at you, you fool. Again, that's upset Thorgrim and had it going around his mind all night. And again the third time when Thorgrim got back to his longhouse and he shunned his wife. And for the third time the merman laughed. Ha 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 ha! Ha ha ha! A mighty laugh. He could not sleep that night, could Thorgrim. So in the end he got up and he went to the merman. And he said, I want to know why you laughed 3 times. I want to know if it's the last thing I do, for I cannot sleep and it plays my mind. Well, the merman knew he had the upper hand here. He had the upper hand on the man. And so I will tell you, but only if you set me free. And so, after stroking his beard, Thorgrim said, yes, I will do that. And they struck on the deal. And so Thorgrim gave some clothes to the merman, for the merman was naked. And he sat him down and gave him a good meal of lamb and parsnips, and a nice goblet of wine, and nice horn of mead, for you cannot beat a good horn of mead. And then the merman told his tale. He said, well, when you pulled me on the jitty and your dog came to you, I laughed in silence, because I knew your dog loved you, but all you could do was shun your dog and your dog's affection. That made me laugh. And the second time when you was dragging me up in that leather sack and you fell over that hump in the path, I laughed again, because I know, being a merman and being wise, what is buried under that mound. And if you get a spade and if you dig, you will find chests of treasure. This picked up Thorgrim's ears, because we all know Vikings love silver and gold. And then the merman said the third time, you came to your longhouse and your wife came out, all loving and affectionate, but again you shunned your wife away because of these rumours you've heard. But believe me, those rumours are false and not true, and your wife is faithful. Well, at this, Thorgrim was very curious, and I'm sure you agree, you would be too. And so he got a spade and very quickly he walked off down the path, and he started to dig and dig. And what do you think he found under that hump? Do you think he found nothing? No, he found 3 chests full of gold and jewels and silver. At that point he knew that the merman was telling the truth. And so he went back to his longhouse and he said to the merman, you are now free, and in the morning I and my men and Olaf will take you back to where we caught you and set you free. And so the dawn came up, the sun rose in the sky, And old Thorgrim kept his word. The merman and his workmen got in the longboats and they rowed and they rowed and they rowed as if it was Thor himself rowing the boat. And they set the merman free. And the merman was never seen again, but I expect he had a long and happy life, which is always the way we like to end these tales, but it's always sad to have an unhappy ending. Sometimes we do. So I do hope you enjoy this tale as I point my spear towards the camera. There you go. And if you do, or if you have enjoyed it, so I can't always get my words right when I do these. If you have enjoyed this video, then I ask you please to leave a comment. And if you are new and you're not familiar with the channel, then I urge you to subscribe and look at our back catalogue of videos. We have filmed a few by now. Until we meet again, may Thor give you strength and may Odin give you wisdom. Goodbye. Thank you, thee.